Welcome to my contribution today for TikTok's homeschool conference this June, all about curriculum, or Instagram. If you're there, if you're watching this on Instagram, thanks. Hi. Yesterday I talked all about language arts. I gave you 3 videos related to language arts, UFly, mega words, and then kind of generally speaking language arts. And then today we're going to talk about social studies, more specifically History Quest. Now, I use History Quest as our main spine. I do have Mint and Blooms. That just didn't feel like the best fit for us. I did buy the books that went along with it. I haven't really used any of them because, anyway. So we've been using History Quest. We also have the audiobook of Curiosity Chronicles. So we layer the audio version of Curiosity Chronicles for whatever the civilization is with whatever the chapter is that we read aloud from History Quest. Now, you might be looking at all of this insanity here. I write questions for each chapter and page, and I come up with writing for a lot of the chapters based on all the pages. So I will read each chapter in advance of doing the chapter with my kids, and I write down questions to kind of keep us focused on what's happening in the chapter as we read it. So that's something I do. Yes, when I finally finish doing all of this with my kids, I will put it all together and make it accessible. So if you want writing and related to History Quest, that will be coming at some point this summer. Anyway, so we do History Quest, we do Curiosity Chronicles. I also will try to find other books like Magic Treehouse books. They also have a lot of books in the study guide that goes along with History Quest. They do have book suggestions, so sometimes I'll pick books from that list. I do also use one of their other spines that goes with it, the Usborne Encyclopedia of World History. I think in order to do history justice, you need to pull from multiple sources as much as you can. I find it's a little bit harder to pull some of those texts with the early time stuff because so much of it is like way back in the day. And so I find it's a little bit trickier to find some of those texts. So I pull a lot of the ones that they have suggested in the curriculum, then I look up stuff online. And so I'm trying to pull other resources related to the civilizations we talk about in the chapters. I think another way to do it would be like something where a chapter where you're talking about where Buddhism is involved. If you can find an additional nonfiction text that explains Buddhism more thoroughly, that might be something that you can do, some of those like offshoots for different topics that are important to the text, and then you can cover them with other nonfiction texts. I just have not honestly been great about that. You can, like I mentioned before, you can get the study guide that goes with it. I'm going to tell you right now that I do not use anything other than the maps and the travel log to go along with it. So every chapter has like the main part of the chapter where they'll tell you about those people. So like Neolithic times, we're about to read a chapter on China, ancient China. And then in that same chapter, after the main part about the whole civilization, there will be what's called a history hop. So the history hop, consider that like zooming in on a person from that civilization. In the study guide, they will have a travel log. So what I like about the travel log is, one, it gives you some map work. So whatever is happening in this like history hop, wherever we are, you're placing it on the map. That's really helpful for my kids. And we also have a wall map, and so they go up to the map to figure out where that would be in like present day. And so then they find it there, and then they find it on that map in their history log. Then underneath of that is a timeline. So they have to place that civilization in time. So on the map, in time. Then there's a spot to do an illustration. Sometimes they do illustrations. Sometimes they don't. I don't really force it because if you want to do it, you're moved to do it by all means. But if you're not moved to do it, that's just not a battle I think is worth waging. Then on the back of it, you have to talk about who you met, what you saw, and then what you learned. And I love that because it also is a great opportunity to pull in sentence writing. And so that ensures that they include specific vocabulary. It also helps me to work with them on punctuating the sentences that they include in there. So I have really liked that element of it. Beyond that part, I don't do the crafts that go along with it. I don't do like the dictation prompts that go along with it. I don't do any of that other stuff other than the maps and the history logs. And then I read additional books to go along with it. And I do writing based off of some of the chapters in here and have them write about different civilizations. And so I think whenever we do this do the next level for middle times, I think I'm going to have them do some like posters about civilizations. So I'm going to do I'm just going to try to figure out how I can have them kind of summarize their information about different civilizations. So I'll incorporate writing, but as well as some like poster creation for it too, just so that they're like maybe even make brochures like for a particular civilization. So just kind of pull in some more like creative projects that way. They get their art in other ways, so I don't particularly feel inclined to incorporate the art this way. So, yeah, that's how we do social studies. This is the one that we use. I also get the audiobook only because I lost my voice for a full week for the first time ever, and having the audiobook was super helpful at that time. And sometimes I don't feel like reading. I want to eat my lunch, and I don't want to be the one reading. I just want to play somebody else reading. But my kids don't love the narrator for it. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them.